Archaeologists burst into tears after opening a 4,300-year-old tomb. What they found is terrifying. Hello, and welcome to the Ancient History Channel. My friend, did you know that there are moments in history when humanity believes it has almost fully understood the past, only for everything to be completely overturned by a single small discovery unearthed from beneath the ground? Ancient ruins buried for thousands of years, seemingly lifeless artifacts, suddenly begin to tell stories so profound that even scientists are left in silent contemplation. And as you may already know, in the journey of archaeological exploration, we don't always find clear answers. Sometimes, the deeper we dig, the more we realize just how little we truly know about the civilizations that once existed. From architectural structures that defy explanation, to artifacts far ahead of their time, to traces that seem as though they don't belong to human history at all. All of these continue to puzzle experts, even leading them to question what they once believed to be true. So what is really hidden beneath the layers of earth and time? And could these discoveries be revealing a greater truth, one we are not yet ready to face? Join me on this journey of exploration where every mystery has the power to change how we see the past, starting right now. 30 mummies, preserved intact, after 4,300 years, buried beneath the sands of Egypt. A barren desert, winds howling as sand sweeps across the land, not a single sign of life. And yet, beneath that seemingly lifeless surface lies a secret that has shaken the entire archaeological world. Can you believe it? It sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? I felt the same way, but this truly happened in Egypt. It all began when Egyptian archaeologists carried out an excavation in an area west of the Step Pyramid, one of the oldest stone structures ever built by humanity. This region is part of Saqqara, a site long known as the burial ground of ancient Egyptian nobility. For thousands of years, the area had been looted countless times, leading many to believe that nothing of value remained. But this time, history proved otherwise. At a depth of about 36 feet below the ground, archaeologists uncovered an ancient tomb dating back 4,300 years. What stunned everyone was what lay inside. As many as 30 mummies, still perfectly preserved, resting within tightly sealed limestone coffins. Just think about it, over 4,300 years have passed, through countless changes in time, wars, and even human greed, and yet these coffins remained untouched. There were no signs of forced entry, no unusual cracks. It was as if some invisible force had protected them for millennia. What does that suggest? And that's not all. What makes this discovery even more remarkable is the way the coffins were crafted. They were made entirely of limestone and sealed with a special type of mortar, one that continues to intrigue scientists because of its mysterious composition and extraordinary durability. This sealing layer protected the mummies from air, moisture, and any outside interference. According to archaeologist Abdel Hakim Karar, this is the first time in Egypt's excavation history that 30 intact mummies have been found together in a single tomb, a number that is not only rare but nearly unprecedented. This makes the archaeological value of the discovery immensely significant. After examination and analysis, experts determined that these mummies date back to the 5th dynasty, part of the Old Kingdom period, roughly between 2494 and 2354 BC. This was a time when Egyptian civilization reached its peak in architecture, religion, and burial practices. That's why every detail within this tomb could serve as a key to better understanding the ancient Egyptian world. But the mystery doesn't end there. What puzzled researchers the most was the arrangement of the mummies. Instead of being placed in burial chambers as usual, the bodies were positioned within wall niches, a highly unusual and rarely seen layout. Could this have been a special ritual? Or perhaps evidence of a distinct social class we have yet to uncover? Even the wooden coffins within the tomb remained intact, showing no signs of damage. This only deepens the mystery, because in a region known for being repeatedly looted over thousands of years, the preservation of everything in such pristine condition seems almost impossible. And the journey of discovery is far from over. In the near future, archaeologists will begin detailed examinations of each of these newly discovered mummies. They hope that beneath those layers of linen wrappings lie answers to many unanswered questions. Who were these individuals? What social class did they belong to? And why were they buried in such an unusual manner? Could this be a lost ritual? Or a secret never recorded in history? And what about you if you were standing before that tomb, surrounded by deep darkness and silent coffins that have rested for 4,300 years? What would you feel? Fear or curiosity? Share your thoughts, because perhaps your perspective could be the key to unlocking mysteries humanity has been searching for all along. Perfect 300-year-old mummy. Dark mystery unfolds just hours after the coffin was opened. My friends, as you know, our ancient world is always mysterious and fascinating in its own way. Some secrets of history aren't written in books, they lie silently beneath the earth, waiting for the day they are awakened. But what's truly unsettling is this: not every secret, once revealed, remains as peaceful as it first appears. Some things, once disturbed, begin to change everything. And the story I'm about to tell you is exactly like that. A powerful reminder that history's greatest secrets truly rest beneath the ground. Yes, this story takes us to a region in China where archaeologists made a discovery that sent chills down everyone's spine. In Xiangcheng, Henan province, during what seemed like a routine excavation, researchers uncovered 3 ancient bodies. But among them was one that made everyone stop, take a closer look, and stand in awe. It was an almost perfectly preserved mummy of a man, believed to be around 300 years old, lying in his coffin as if he had merely fallen asleep. His clothing suggested that he had once been a high-ranking official during the Qing dynasty, a historical period in China that lasted from 1644 to 1912. Every fold of fabric, every detail remained clear, with no signs of decay. But what truly shocked everyone was not just the level of preservation, it was what happened next. You see, right after the coffin was opened, the mummy's face looked almost normal. So much so that it gave people the eerie feeling that he was somehow still present. But within just a few hours, everything began to change. The skin on his face gradually turned dark, and a foul odor began to spread through the air. Then, piece by piece, the rest of the body started to transform, as if time itself had suddenly resumed, continuing the work it had left unfinished centuries ago. Think about it, what could have preserved that body so perfectly for 300 years, only for it to change so drastically in just a matter of hours? Can you answer that? According to archaeologist Dr. Lucas Nickel, ancient people used special methods to preserve the dead. The body was placed inside a large, sturdy coffin, carefully coated with layers of lacquer. In addition, the mummy was covered with a layer of charcoal. This may have acted as a barrier against bacteria, allowing the body to remain nearly intact for centuries. But once that protective seal was broken, everything seemed to change almost instantly. This may also be the most reasonable explanation for what happened. In fact, a similar discovery in 2011 also drew attention from China's archaeological community. In Jiangsu province, scientists found another remarkably well-preserved mummy buried about 6.5 feet underground. Astonishingly, the body remained intact from head to toe, showing no signs of deterioration. Further research revealed that this was the body of a woman approximately 5 feet tall, who lived during the Ming dynasty, nearly 700 years ago. Not only was she well preserved, but evidence also suggested she belonged to the noble class and was buried with special funeral rites. 2 discoveries from 2 different time periods, yet sharing one striking similarity. The burial and preservation techniques of ancient people were far more sophisticated than we ever imagined. Even today, Chinese archaeologists continue to study these mysterious mummies in greater depth. They hope to uncover the secrets behind these preservation methods and gain a deeper understanding of funeral practices during the Qing and Ming dynasties. But one big question still remains. Did ancient people possess knowledge that we still cannot fully explain today? And are the strange changes observed after opening these coffins simply natural reactions, or is there something deeper hidden beneath the surface? So let me ask you honestly, if you were to witness a face that looked almost alive suddenly turn dark within just a few hours, how would you feel? Fear or curiosity to uncover what really happened? Don't hesitate to share your bold thoughts in the comments below. 1,400-year-old prince's tomb, hidden between a pub and a supermarket. My friend, have you ever walked past a familiar street, glanced at an ordinary empty lot, without realizing that beneath it could lie an entire chapter of history buried for thousands of years? If not, then come with me to a quiet town called Prittlewell, in Essex, northeast of London. Here, there is a simple grassy patch located right next to a pub and a supermarket. Cars pass by every day. People go about their normal lives, yet no one notices. And no one suspects that right beneath their feet, a prince has been resting there for 1,400 years. Recently, British archaeologists surveying the area discovered what has been described as the Chamber of the Afterlife, belonging to Prince Sayexa, the brother of a well-known Anglo-Saxon king in English history. As I mentioned earlier, what makes this discovery so astonishing is not just the identity of the person buried there, but the fact that the tomb remained hidden for over a millennium without anyone knowing. Just think about it. A royal tomb filled with valuable treasures, located right beside a busy road, yet never touched by grave robbers. Isn't that almost impossible in archaeology? As you know, most ancient tombs were looted long ago, and yet somehow, the tomb of Prince Sayexa remained intact. Even though the mound above it had collapsed over time, and countless historical changes had passed, everything inside was preserved just as it was on the day of burial. Even more astonishing, modern structures like the nearby pub and supermarket seem to have unknowingly avoided the exact location of the tomb, a coincidence that sends chills down your spine. When excavations began, archaeologists discovered that the tomb was not merely a burial site, but more like a room for the living. Everything inside was carefully arranged, familiar and orderly, as if its owner were simply embarking on another journey. At the center of the chamber lay the prince's coffin, serving as a bed. Surrounding it were approximately 40 royal artifacts. These included finely crafted jewelry, weapons such as swords, shields, and spears, as well as items bearing influences from distant lands. Among the most remarkable finds were an ancient lyre, a rare musical instrument, gold decorative elements from a wooden vessel, and even a flag believed to originate from the eastern Mediterranean, possibly brought back from a Christian pilgrimage. These details suggest that the prince was not only of high status, but also had connections to cultures beyond his own land. According to Sophie Jackson, research director at the Museum of London Archaeology, Prince Sayexa is believed to have died between 575 and 605 AD. What many find particularly tragic is that he may have passed away at a very young age, likely still in his teenage years. A short life, yet honored with a grand and mysterious burial, only to lie undisturbed beneath the earth for 1,400 years, completely unknown to the world. What's even more remarkable is that the site was first discovered in 2003, but it took 15 years of research and excavation before archaeologists could fully reveal its significance. This alone reflects the scale and importance of the discovery. Through this tomb, we also gain deeper insight into the Anglo-Saxons, a people originating from Germanic tribes who migrated to the British Isles in the 5th century, helping shape the rich cultural foundation of modern England. But my friends, what truly makes us pause and think is not just the treasures, but the question: how could such a valuable tomb remain hidden in the middle of the modern world for thousands of years without anyone knowing? Was it merely a coincidence or a secret that history has yet to reveal? Can you answer that? Two towers standing atop a mountain, a 1,300-year-old mystery that even experts can't fully explain. Just imagine this scene for a moment. On a misty afternoon, you stand at a distance, gazing at a mountain. Suddenly, you notice two massive rock formations rising straight up, pressed closely together like pillars holding up the sky. And on top of them stand two ancient towers, as if a single strong gust of wind could bring everything crashing down at any moment. How would you feel? Just thinking about it sends chills down your spine, doesn't it? But what's even more unsettling is that this structure truly exists. Welcome to one of China's strangest architectural mysteries, Twin Towers Mountain, a place where even modern scientists and engineers struggle to provide a complete explanation. Located in Chengde City, Hebei Province, this mountain has long been a well-known attraction. But what makes it extraordinary isn't just its grandeur, it's its unnatural structure. Two massive stone pillars rise straight from the ground, their bases are relatively narrow, while their tops expand outward, creating a striking sense of imbalance, as if the entire structure is resting on a fragile point of support. Many visitors feel uneasy the first time they see it. No matter how you look at it, it seems impossible for such formations to remain standing for long. Some even compare them to two giant stone mushrooms that could collapse at any moment. And yet, what makes this story even more unbelievable is what sits atop these pillars. Two ancient towers that have stood for over 1,000 years. Doesn't that sound almost impossible? A place that is nearly impossible to climb. Yet ancient people somehow transported materials, constructed, and completed two solid brick structures there. According to visitors who have seen it in person, the northern peak stands about 115 feet tall, stretches nearly 243 feet in length, and has a diameter of around 49 feet. The southern peak is slightly lower, about 98 feet tall, with a diameter of roughly 26 feet. The two rock pillars stand side by side like twins, forming a scene that is both majestic and terrifying. And on top of these pillars of the sky, the two ancient towers remain, silent witnesses to the passage of more than a millennium. From a distance, you can clearly see the stacked blue bricks, the sharp square roof lines, and even faint glimpses of wind chimes hanging from the corners. Everything about them feels ancient and eerie, as if they no longer belong to the human world. According to historical records, these towers were built during the Liao dynasty, roughly 1,000 to 1,300 years ago. Their builders are believed to have been the Khitan people, an ancient group that once lived in this region. But the biggest question remains unanswered. How were they built? Even today, with modern technology, constructing anything on such steep and dangerous terrain would be extremely difficult. So how did people accomplish this over 1,000 years ago without machinery? Some experts suggest that the bricks used have unique features. On the back, they contain 6 to 7 rough grooves. Based on this detail, researchers speculate that the builders may have come from the Liaoning region, known for advanced construction techniques in ancient times. But no matter how it's explained, the core mystery remains. How did they transport materials up there? How did they maintain balance on such a dangerous foundation? Some believe these towers were not merely architectural feats, but also carried deep spiritual meaning. The Khitan people had a strong tradition of mountain worship. They believed mountains were a connection between heaven and earth, between humans and the divine. For that reason, building towers on mountaintops may have been a ritual, a way to bring the souls of the dead closer to the heavens. 3,000-year-old Egyptian carvings that resemble modern aircraft, a mystery. Sparking worldwide debate. My friends, imagine this. One day you come across the image of an airplane, but it's not in the sky, and it's not in a modern book. Instead, it's carved onto an ancient wall from thousands of years ago. What would you think? A coincidence? Pure chance? Or something history has never fully revealed to us? Yes, this story takes us back to ancient Egypt, a land of majestic pyramids, powerful pharaohs, and countless unsolved mysteries. But this time, what stunned archaeologists wasn't a tomb or hidden treasure. It was a set of seemingly small carvings etched into stone walls around 3,000 years ago. At the Temple of Seti, the first in Abydos, researchers discovered a series of unusual hieroglyphs. At first glance, they looked no different from typical ancient Egyptian carvings, but upon closer inspection, something astonishing began to emerge. Among the carvings of insects, snakes, and religious symbols, there appeared shapes that bear an uncanny resemblance to modern passenger airplanes, and even helicopters. Take a moment to think about that. 3,000 years ago, humans didn't even fully understand the sky, let alone imagine flying. So why do these images look so strikingly similar? Is it just our imagination, or evidence of something beyond conventional logic? From here, a wave of theories began to surface. Some believe that ancient Egyptian civilization may have reached an advanced level of technology, perhaps even capable of creating flying machines. Others go even further, suggesting that visitors from the future may have traveled back in time, bringing with them images of airplanes and helicopters, either intentionally or accidentally leaving traces behind. And of course, we can't ignore one of the most controversial theories of all: extraterrestrials. According to some, beings from distant planets once visited Earth, bringing advanced technology and sharing knowledge with ancient humans. Monumental structures like the pyramids and even Stonehenge are often cited as evidence supporting this idea. UFO researcher Steve Meera even traveled across the UK presenting this mystery. During a conference in Warminster, he pointed to the carvings and said, "Look closely, it has rotor blades, it has a tail." Then he posed a question that left many deep in thought. Why were ancient people able to depict objects resembling modern aircraft when airplanes have only existed for just over 100 years? It's certainly fascinating, but not everyone is convinced. many scientists and Egyptologists offer a more grounded explanation. According to them, these aircraft-like shapes are actually the result of overlapping carvings, a common technique in ancient times. Pharaohs often had multiple names, each represented by different hieroglyphs. When a new ruler ascended the throne, they would sometimes carve their name over that of their predecessor. Over time, these layers of inscriptions overlapped, creating random composite shapes. When viewed through a modern lens, we interpret them as airplanes or helicopters. In fact, some digitally enhanced images have revealed these overlapping layers more clearly, lending strong support to the scientific explanation. So in the end, what is the truth? Are these the remnants of lost technology? Evidence of time travel? Or simply a strange coincidence created by human hands thousands of years ago? What do you think? Because honestly, I still can't answer that question. 70-million-year-old dinosaur. Graveyard buried in Spain. Let's travel to eastern Spain, where not long ago, during the construction of a high-speed railway line, workers accidentally stumbled upon a discovery that stunned the scientific world. This wasn't just a few scattered bones, nor was it treasure made of gold and jewels. It was an entire massive dinosaur graveyard, containing up to 8,000 fossil specimens from at least 8 different species. Just hearing that is overwhelming, isn't it? This site, later named Lo Hueco by scientists, quickly became one of the largest and most diverse dinosaur fossil locations ever found in Europe. The fossils here date back around 70 million years, just about 4 million years before the dinosaurs went extinct, a period for which science previously had very limited data. What does that mean? It means we are facing a rare opportunity to understand the world of dinosaurs right before they disappeared from Earth. According to paleontologist José Luis Sanz, the lead researcher, these fossils reveal an incredibly rich ecosystem. Among them, the most prominent are the titanosaurs, long-necked giants that were among the largest herbivorous dinosaurs to ever exist. These enormous creatures once roamed the land, leaving behind footprints that, millions of years later, rested quietly beneath layers of mud, waiting to be discovered. But titanosaurs were not alone. Scientists also uncovered fossils of other species, such as Rhabdodon, a smaller dinosaur with teeth specialized for grinding plants, and ankylosaurs, armored dinosaurs equipped with powerful tails used for defense. And of course, there were predators as well. Among them were dromaeosaurs, fast, highly aggressive carnivorous dinosaurs measuring about 6 feet in length. The presence of both prey and predators suggests that this was once a complete and balanced ecosystem. The discoveries didn't stop there. Researchers also found fossils of turtles and prehistoric crocodiles, all preserved within layers of clay and mud, clear evidence of a river or wetland environment. So what caused so many creatures to end up buried in one place? Many scientists believe that a massive flood may have swept through the area, carrying everything with it and burying it in sediment. A natural disaster that inadvertently became a time capsule, preserving everything for tens of millions of years. But what makes this discovery even more remarkable is what it reveals about the extinction of dinosaurs. In the past, many believed that before being wiped out by the Cretaceous-Paleogene extinction event, when a massive asteroid struck Earth, dinosaurs were already in decline both in number and diversity. But Lo Hueco tells a different story. Here, dinosaur species appear highly diverse and abundant, suggesting they were still thriving right up until their extinction. According to paleontologist Darren Naish, this discovery supports the idea that dinosaurs were not gradually weakening before they vanished, but may have been wiped out suddenly. Doesn't that thought send a chill down your spine? A vibrant world, full of life suddenly erased in a single moment of cosmic history. Today, scientists continue to study these fossils. Bones, teeth, and even traces of plants and small organisms are being analyzed in laboratories, with the hope of reconstructing a complete picture of life 70 million years ago. And the big question still remains: is Lo Hueco revealing the final moments of the age of dinosaurs? Or is it just a small glimpse into a much larger story we have yet to fully understand? And what about you if you could travel back 70 million years and stand in this graveyard when it was still a living world? Would you dare? As for me, I don't think I would. It's truly terrifying. 150,000-year-old pipes beneath a Chinese pyramid, evidence of a lost civilization. In a remote mountainous region of Qinghai Province in northwestern China, there stands a mountain known as Baigong. At its summit lie the remains of a strange structure, often referred to as the Baigong Pyramid. But unlike the famous pyramids of the world, this site has been heavily eroded over time, leaving behind only fragments of ruins and lingering mystery. In the past, the structure reportedly had 3 triangular entrances located on different sides. Today, however, 2 of them have completely collapsed, leaving only a single accessible entrance, and it is through this remaining passage that a discovery emerged, one that has left archaeologists deeply puzzled. Inside the cave, researchers found a complex network of metal pipes, some measuring up to about 1.5 feet in diameter. These pipes are not randomly scattered. They extend deep into the mountain as if leading somewhere unknown. Just imagine that for a moment in such a remote location, there exists a system resembling a modern industrial pipeline. Does that seem normal? Of course not. Even more intriguing, along the nearby shores of Tosan Lake, scientists discovered many more similar pipes of varying sizes and shapes. Some protrude above the surface, while others are buried deep in the mud. Together, they form a strange picture, as if this once belonged to a complete system. Fascinated by these unusual artifacts, the Beijing Institute of Geology analyzed the Baigong pipes using a technique known as thermoluminescence. This method allows scientists to determine the last time an object was exposed to high temperatures. The results suggested that these pipes were formed approximately 150,000 years ago. Do you notice the contradiction? According to previous studies, humans only began appearing in this region around 100,000 years ago, about 30,000 years before present in earlier local estimates. And at that time, they lived as nomads. So how could such a sophisticated system have been created tens of thousands of years earlier? But the mystery doesn't end there. When analyzing the composition, scientists found that the pipes contain iron oxide, silicon dioxide, and calcium oxide. However, about 8% of the material could not be identified, an unknown component that science still cannot fully explain. This has led to a wide range of theories. Some believe these are the remnants of an advanced ancient civilization that has since disappeared. Perhaps they built a system to channel water from the nearby lake for a specific purpose, possibly even for cooling some kind of structure. But then another detail makes things even more puzzling. To the north of Baigong Mountain are 2 lakes, one freshwater and one saltwater. Strangely, all the pipes are found only around the saltwater lake, with no trace near the freshwater one. So why saltwater? Some theories suggest that saltwater may have been used for electrolysis, producing hydrogen and oxygen, key components of fuel. This idea has led some to draw comparisons to modern technology, even jet propulsion. At this point, does the story begin to feel like it's going far beyond conventional history? Because of this, some have proposed a bold hypothesis. The creators of these pipes may not have been human at all. However, other scientists offer a more grounded explanation. They suggest that these pipes may actually be fossilized tree roots. Evidence for this includes traces of organic material and ring-like patterns similar to wood grain found in some samples. Under certain geological conditions, tree roots can mineralize and take on metal-like structures, forming shapes that resemble pipes. Of course, all of this remains hypothetical. The truth is still unknown. So what do you think? Are these the remains of a forgotten civilization, a strange natural phenomenon, or evidence of something beyond human understanding? As for me, I believe that until history is rewritten, mysteries like the Baigong pipes will remain right where they are, challenging the limits of science and the imagination of humanity. 2,400-year-old mysterious artifact reveals fascinating insights into ancient intelligence. My friend, have you ever wondered, before maps existed, before compasses, before telescopes, even before humans truly understood what science was, how did they navigate the world? Well, the answer may lie right above us, the sky. And more remarkably, over 2,000 years ago, there were people who didn't just look up at the sky, they found a way to bring it down to Earth. Evidence of this comes from a small village called Rupin Piccolo in northeastern Italy, where scientists from the Italian National Institute for Astrophysics discovered a strange artifact, a stone slab dating back around 2,400 years. At first, it might not sound like much, right? But what makes it extraordinary lies in what's carved on its surface. The stone is shaped like a circular disc, about 20 inches in diameter and roughly 12 inches thick, similar in size to a car tire. But what truly sets it apart are the intricate symbols engraved across it. These are not random drawings, they closely resemble familiar constellations. On its surface, researchers identified 29 different engravings, believed to represent constellations such as Scorpius, Orion, Cassiopeia, and Pleiades, names we still use today to describe groups of stars in the night sky. To verify this, scientists used modern software to compare the carvings with the actual positions of these constellations, and the results were strikingly accurate. What does that mean? It means these engravings were not random, they were intentional, based on careful observation and a certain level of astronomical knowledge. According to researchers Federico Bernardini and Paolo Malaro, this stone may be one of the oldest celestial maps ever created by humans, a tool that ancient people used to track the sky, perhaps even to determine the seasons, which was crucial for agricultural life. By observing the sky, ancient people could know when to plant crops and when to harvest. Think about it, with nothing more than a stone and simple tools like a hammer and chisel, ancient humans created something that today requires software to verify. This makes us wonder, how long did they observe the sky? How did they accumulate such knowledge to achieve this level of accuracy? And more importantly, is this just a single artifact, or evidence of an entire body of knowledge that has been lost over time? This stone, though small, opens a vast doorway, connecting modern science with ancient intelligence. It suggests that what we consider knowledge today may have existed long ago, only to be forgotten with time. And yet, it also leaves us with many unanswered questions. Who created it? What civilization did they belong to? And how many more maps of the sky like this are still out there, waiting to be discovered? So if you had the chance to hold this 2,400-year-old stone in your hands, gazing at ancient symbols that still reflect today's sky, what would you feel? A sense of awe, or perhaps a chill, realizing that ancient people may have understood the universe far more than we imagine? Share your thoughts, because who knows, your bold ideas might just open the door to an entirely new chapter of history. The death mask of Pakal the Great, the 80-year-old king of the Maya Empire. Did you know that some stories in history don't begin with war, but with an object that has lain in silence for thousands of years? An object that cannot speak, yet tells the entire life story of a king. And our journey begins with a mask. The story starts in 1952. That year, during an excavation deep beneath an ancient pyramid in the city of Palenque, Mexico, archaeologists entered a pitch-dark chamber, one that light had not touched for over 1,000 years. There, they discovered a sarcophagus. Inside it was a skull covered by an exquisitely crafted jade mask, so intricate that anyone who saw it was left in awe. Of course, this mask did not belong to an ordinary person. Inscriptions on the walls revealed that the individual buried there was Kainich Janab Pakal, better known as Pakal the Great, one of the most powerful kings of the Maya civilization. But what makes this story truly fascinating is not just the mask, but the life of the man behind it. For most of his 68-year reign in the 7th century, Pakal, often referred to as the Sun Shield, before his name was fully deciphered, was the most powerful ruler in the Americas. Yet despite the prestige he held later in life, he began his rule as an unexpected and underestimated leader. Pakal ascended the throne at just 12 years old, in a city devastated by war with the rival Maya kingdom of Kan. That conflict had led to 2 catastrophic sieges of Palenque, massacres of its people, and the death of the previous king. The young ruler inherited a kingdom in chaos, deeply scarred by war and recent humiliating military defeats. Most of its magnificent structures had been reduced to ruins, and a large portion of the population lay dead, struck down by arrows, spears, and obsidian-bladed weapons wielded by Khan's fierce warriors. The once thriving maize fields had been burned, and the threat of famine loomed. That was the legacy Pakal inherited. At an age when many are still learning about responsibility, the boy had to carry the fate of an entire kingdom on his shoulders. In his early years, his mother, Lady Sak Kuk, served as regent, guiding him step by step in becoming a true leader. But what's remarkable is that Pakal did not fall. Instead, he grew stronger through hardship. News of a young, ambitious king determined to restore Palenque began to spread, and soon enough, the old enemy, the kingdom of Khan, returned once again, intending to wipe Palenque off the map for good. But this time, things were different. Thanks to intelligence from spies, Pakal mobilized his forces and launched a counterattack. The battle was fierce, but in the end, Palenque's army emerged victorious. Not only did they defeat their enemies, but they also captured several opposing lords alive. To assert his power, Pakal ordered these prisoners to be sacrificed to the god Kawil, the deity of lightning, serpents, and maize, as a powerful warning to anyone who dared challenge him. That victory changed everything. From a kingdom on the brink of collapse, Palenque gradually rose again and became a center of power, culture, and architectural brilliance. Over the course of his 68-year reign, one of the longest in history, Pakal transformed it into a thriving and influential city. He lived to the age of 80, remarkable for that era, and passed away as a legend. Then, more than 1,000 years later, that jade mask was discovered, still resting on his face, as if time itself had never touched it. Today, the mask is displayed at the National Museum of Anthropology in an exhibit that recreates Pakal's tomb. But to many, it is more than just an archaeological artifact. It is a symbol of a man who overcame adversity to shape history. Isn't that fascinating? Isn't $300 million, treasure left behind in ancient tombs, too dangerous for grave robbers to take? My friends, there's a strange paradox in the world of archaeology. The more valuable something is, the less likely thieves are to take it. Sounds unbelievable, right? But today's story might change your mind. There exists a treasure found in ancient Chinese tombs, worth hundreds of millions of dollars, that is often left completely untouched, even when everything else around it has been looted. So what is it that makes even the greediest grave robbers hesitate? It is the jade burial suit, a funerary garment made entirely of jade and precious metals, one of the rarest treasures ever discovered in tombs from the Han Dynasty. This is not clothing made of fabric, but a suit assembled from hundreds, even thousands of small jade pieces. Each piece is carefully polished and shaped into squares, rectangles, or diamond forms. They are then meticulously linked together using threads of pure gold, silver, or even copper, threaded through tiny holes drilled into each piece. Just hearing about it, you can already sense the level of craftsmanship involved, right? Naturally, its value is extraordinary. According to experts, a single jade burial suit can be valued at over 2.4 billion yuan, equivalent to more than 300 million US dollars, a number that would leave anyone stunned. And yet, in many looted tombs, where gold, jewels, and artifacts have all been taken, these jade suits are often left behind. Why is that? First, we need to understand that jade in ancient Chinese culture was not just decorative. It carried profound spiritual meaning. People believed jade could protect the body after death, prevent decomposition, and was even connected to the idea of rebirth. Because of this, only individuals of the highest status, emperors, princes, or nobles, were allowed to be buried in jade suits. Even the type of thread used reflected social rank: gold threads for emperors, silver for royalty, and copper or silk for lower ranks. In other words, this was not just an object, it was a symbol of ultimate power. But here's the real question. If the jade suit is so valuable, why wouldn't tomb robbers, who were willing to loot entire royal tombs, take it? Many theories have been proposed, but one of the most convincing is this: no one dared to sell it. Think about it. A jade burial suit is a one-of-a-kind artifact tied directly to royalty. It cannot appear anywhere without raising suspicion. If an ordinary person suddenly possessed such an item, it would be like confessing to a crime. No black market would dare to buy it. No one would dare to display it. It's like a ticking bomb for any thief. Because of this, even the most greedy grave robbers in the past would often dismantle the suit just to extract the gold threads, leaving behind scattered jade pieces. That's why archaeologists frequently find loose jade fragments rather than complete suits. But that was the past. Today, modern tomb robbers are no longer restrained by such fears. They are willing to take anything of value: artifacts, coffins, even human remains. And this has made the remaining jade burial suits more precious than ever. One of the most famous examples is the jade suit of Liu Sheng, which is currently displayed at the Hebei Museum. It is considered one of the most intricate and ancient jade burial suits ever discovered. But beyond its material worth, what truly makes the jade burial suit special is the story behind it. A story about belief, about power, and about how humans confront death. What do you think? The remains of a child buried with beasts. At the Majunsuo site near the town of Outokumpu in eastern Finland, an ancient grave was excavated by archaeologists in 1991. At first glance, it looked like nothing more than an ordinary patch of ground. But once the first layer of soil was removed, the past began to speak. This was the resting place of a child, no name, no known gender, who had lived about 8,000 years ago during the Mesolithic period. The only remains were a few small teeth, the sole evidence that the buried individual was a child between approximately 3 and 10 years old. And yet, it is precisely this fragility that opens a rich window of archaeological insight. What was found surrounding the child tells a complex, delicate, and deeply emotional story about how ancient people treated death, especially the death of the young. At the base of the grave, researchers discovered 2 quartz arrowheads, crafted in the characteristic trapezoidal shape of the Stone Age. From these small artifacts alone, experts estimated that the grave dates back to around 6000 BC. These arrowheads were not merely hunting tools. They also carried cultural and possibly ritual meaning, perhaps serving as blessings for the child's journey into the afterlife. But what moved scientists the most were the smallest details: fragments of animal fur. Through soil analysis, experts identified fine down feathers from waterfowl, likely used as a soft layer, a kind of feather bed for the child's body. This detail is deeply touching. In a society as materially limited as the Stone Age, placing a child upon such a soft layer speaks volumes about the boundless love of the community or of the child's parents long ago. The discoveries did not stop there. The research team also found a falcon feather in the grave, something unlikely to be a coincidence. In many ancient cultures, falcons symbolized strength and the ability to soar into the sky, often associated with the soul leaving the body. Falcon feathers may have been used to guide arrows or attached to clothing for ritual purposes. Could this have been a final gift? A message of hope that the child's soul would be guided, that it would not lose its way on the journey to the afterlife? Near the child's feet, archaeologists uncovered 24 fragments of mammal fur, many identified as belonging to the canine family, possibly wolves. According to Associate Professor Kristina Mannermaa of the University of Helsinki, it cannot be ruled out that these furs came from clothing or footwear made of wolfskin. However, another compelling theory suggests that a dog, a loyal companion, may have been buried alongside the child. This practice has been documented before, such as at Skateholm, where a 7,000-year-old grave revealed humans and dogs buried together. If this theory holds true, it reflects the deep bond between humans and animals that began very early in human history. In addition, archaeologists uncovered traces of plant fibers, possibly from willow or nettle. These materials were commonly used in ancient times to weave clothing or make fishing nets. Their presence suggests that the community did not only prepare for death, but also included everyday items, as if they believed the child would continue to live, to need clothing, and to be cared for in the next world. You see, even though this is just a small grave, hidden deep within forests and time, it opens up an immense wealth of knowledge about life, beliefs, and compassion from over 80 centuries ago. In the cold darkness of prehistory, the act of placing a child on a soft bed of feathers, with tools, feathers, and perhaps even a loyal animal companion was not just burial, it was remembrance, a ritual filled with love, hope, and belief. Today, as we examine these details through microscopes and modern technology, we learn not only how our ancestors survived, but also glimpse the depth of their humanity. And perhaps what truly defines civilization is not just tools or materials, but emotion, the invisible connection between the living and the dead, between the distant past and the present today. My friend, perhaps the most fascinating thing about archaeology is not in finding answers, but in the questions that have never been solved. Each discovery is just a piece of the puzzle, yet the picture of the past remains unfinished, full of mystery and constantly challenging our imagination. So what do you think about today's archaeological discoveries? Are they merely coincidences of history, or are they hiding a greater truth that humanity has yet to fully understand? Share your thoughts, and don't forget to follow the journey ahead by subscribing to the channel and turning on the notification bell, because who knows, the next mystery might completely change the way you see the world. And for now, goodbye and see you next time.